y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to Grieving Gracefully with Sallie D. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome to ep1. Today I wanted to tell my story. Um, Let you know how Grieving Gracefully started and let you know who I am. My name is Sallie D. Isaac. I'm a wife. We are a blended family with 5 children, ages ranging from 20 years old down to 4. I know, right? We decided to start all over. Um, so I had a son previously before meeting my husband, and my husband had 2 girls before we met, and we have 2 together. Um, and one is an angel. Um, Unfortunately, we lost our oldest son December 28th, 2022 to suicide. And as a result of that, God has ushered me into my purpose where I now show people how they don't have to shun God, don't have to turn their back on God. They can lean into God and learn how to grieve gracefully. Because that's what everybody saw in me. They saw the way that I grieved. And so let's backtrack. Um, like most parents, our oldest son was, teenager. And the teenagers, you know how they can be. They start smelling themselves. And that's how it was for him. He he was my only child for the longest. So, well, for 13 years, he was the only child for me and his dad, for 13 years until we had our daughter, who is now 8. And so like that's, I started noticing, a change in him because he wasn't used to um being, I guess, you know, being the only child. He was only used to being the only child. And then um we had our youngest son. But he was, by this time he had, become excited. But he started smelling himself, he got a taste of the world, you could say, because, I was brought up in the church. I brought him up in the church. Um and then when he got a taste of the world, it's like the world wouldn't let him go. You hear me? He started sneaking out of the house at the age of 16, 16, 17, around that time. And that's when I started noticing a change in him. And that's when we got him a um a psychologist. So he was started seeing that person December 2021. Um, And then, it when he started sneaking out of the house, he was sneaking out of the house like once or twice a month. God would wake me up out of the middle of my sleep, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and he wouldn't be in the house. And he wouldn't answer my phone calls. He would turn his location off so I couldn't find him. One point I had to call the police to find him, for him to come home because like he wouldn't respond to me at all. Fast forward 2022. Um, I'm gonna say like the end of September, the beginning of October, God came to, like, I was fussing at him because he had literally just came in the house because he had left the night before and he didn't get home until the next morning. And that's when we started locking the door. Because at one point we would let him in, but then we started, after talking to his therapist, he was like, start setting some boundaries. So my husband and I, we started locking the door. So if he snuck out of the house, and I happen to wake up and realize he's gone, I'm locking my windows and I'm locking the door and he can't come in until the next morning. So that's what happened that day. And like after I fussed at him or whatever, and God told me to go back to him and say, you know, whatever you're doing in the street, you need to stop. Like I don't know what he's doing. I just know that he's sneaking out of the house. Then my birthday come. My birthday is October the 29th. And I get a knock at my door and I was like, okay. And I look and I see it's the police outside. And I'm like, why y'all here? Because anytime they come to my house previously, it's because they had the wrong address. So I'm thinking it's the same thing this time, except for no, they're saying they looking for my son. And I'm like, what? Because the day before, he left the house with one of his friends when he wasn't supposed to. And this was in the daytime. He wanted to go to my mom's house. And he called my mom, and my mom was leaving work and she was on her way to get him. And then next thing I know, one of his friends pop up in the yard. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna just ride with him and I'm gonna just go to my grandma's house." And I was like, "All right, your grandma live 8 minutes away from us. I'm gonna give you 10 to get there." My mama texted me and was like, he had made it over there. So I didn't think anything of it because she already texted me and let me know that he was there. When she went to go to work the next morning, she texted me like, "Your son over here." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then when they knocked on the door, I was like, he's not here. He's at my mom's house." So they was like, "Well, you get your kids and meet me at your mom's house." So I got the little ones in the car and we went over to my mom's house and he wasn't there. I didn't know where he was. He wasn't answering the phone. Like at first he wouldn't answer my phone calls, but he was answering my text messages. And I'm like, "What, like, what's going on?" Because I got the police here and he's somewhere that I don't know. And I'm trying to figure out like what's really going on. And then come to find out they were saying that it was armed robbery, charges, something about the friend that he left with, did something. I don't know the full story. Um, but that happened October 29th. We finally got my son to turn himself in on November the 1st. I had my husband reach out to one of his um friends that's on the police force and asked him. I was like, "All right, now they talking about my baby armed and dangerous." I was like, "He's not armed and dangerous." I say I want my baby here, in one piece. I don't want them to shoot my baby because they got him on the news talking about armed and dangerous. And he was like, "If you can get him to come home and turn himself in, then I'll come get him." So that's what happened. We got him to turn himself in on November the 1st, and we left him in there for a week. Now, mind you, at the time he's 17, so he isn't in regular population. They got him secluded in a room by himself because he's a minor. And so we left him in there for a week because we're like, "You're gonna learn your lesson. Like, we want you to see a little taste of what it feels like to be in jail so you don't do it again." Because we could have got him out the same day that he turned himself in, but we wanted to teach him a lesson that he's not going to continue to do this, and we pay money to get him out of jail. Um, and so we um we got him out after I came back from a business trip, and we got him out, and the next month, like one of my friends, she ended up losing her son. And I was like, "I'm not losing my child. Like, boy, I need you to get it together. I'm not understanding what's going on with you. Like I need you to get it right because before all this, before he got in trouble with the law in October, like I'm reaching out to everybody. I'm like, after I got him the psychiatrist, I'm reaching out to his basketball team, his basketball coach, because he was like my son, a good child who got caught up, basically. Um, he was playing basketball in high school. He started at 5, playing for Park and Rec. Then he started playing middle school ball, and then he got into AAU. He was playing it for high school, and then all of a sudden he was like, "Mom, I don't want to play basketball no more." And I was like, "What?" So now I'm reaching out to everybody I can think of. I was reaching out to my community. My community had nothing. So I felt like my community failed me because they don't have any programs, like no mentoring programs for young men in our community. So I felt like they failed me. I reached out to his basketball coach. Like I was trying to reach someone because there is a change in him that I didn't know what to do with, right? I'm already praying and fasting, trying to figure like, Lord, I need your help. And then I'm over here reaching out to my community at the same time, trying to find someone who can reach him. And then after learning that my friend's son passed away, I was like, "Jaden, like, I can't, like, I need you to get it together because I'm not losing my child." His birthday is December 21st. He turned 18. Everything fine. Christmas came, we went to church, and he like even though he would sneak out of the house, he was still going to church with me every single Sunday. He would go up there for altar call and they would pray and lay hands on him every Sunday, right? And then Christmas, I think that year it was at church. It was on a Sunday, so we went to church. And then December 28th came. And that particular day, it was like any other day. We got up, he had an interview for a job that morning. When he got out of jail in November, they put him on ankle monitor. And so you had to pay on that weekly. So um we went to pay on that. And then we went back home and he's in the kitchen washing dishes. And then I hear that infamous knock on my door. And I went to my door and he was like, Mom, who's that at the door? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, will you answer it? So I was on a team meeting at the time and I went to the front door and the baby at the time, he was one. No, he had just turned two. The baby had just turned two at the time. And so like I knew he got up when I got up to follow me to the door, but that's like I don't remember him where he been after that. So I'm talking to the officer at the door trying to figure out why they're at my house because at this time they got my house surrounded. I see an officer here on my right. I see an officer in front of me, and then I see some other officers like around my porch. And then I notice out my peripheral that I see my son walking from the kitchen to his room. And still I'm trying to figure out like why y'all at my house. And before I could even get the question fully, why are you here? I hear something say, I was like, what is that noise? And the officer in front of me say, was that a gunshot? And I was like, what'd you say? And I just took off running. And I ran to my son's room and he was already gone. And my son took his life. And at this point, like, I still don't understand what happened. I ran outside. At this point, I don't know where my kid's at. Because when I came back and I was like, he's gone. And they was like, shots fired, shots fired. And they're, making us come out of the house. Like, it's winter. We have no coat on, no shoes on, everything in the house. I don't have my phone. I have nothing. I'm outside. I'm freaking out because I'm looking at my son just took his life. The little one's coming outside. My neighbor coming, he hear me screaming and he's trying to figure out what's going on with me. And he's trying to calm me down. And the officer come back to me is like, is there someone you can call? No, first he asked me, no, I asked him, why are you here? And he was like, there has been a shooting. And I was like, okay. And I started freaking out again. That's when my neighbor came again and he tried to, calm me down. And then the officer was like, is there anybody you can call? So I called his dad, who's like maybe 3 minutes up the street from us. And then I called my husband and I called my mom and I called my niece. And I didn't tell anybody. I was just like, I need y'all to get here. I need y'all to come to my house. Like, I need y'all here. Like, I need y'all right now. And everybody like, what is going on? I need you. Like, I need you. I need you. Like, now. I need you here right now because I'm home by myself with the kids. I need you all to come here now. And then his daddy was the first one to come to the house. So that's one of the hardest things that I had to do was to tell his dad that he took his life. Like, and then my husband. And then looking at my mama come up the street, because by this time, word has gotten out in the neighborhood, and our street is filled up with the police department. I think the fire trucks might have been on our road. Friends and family had both sides of the streets full up. So I think somebody told my mom as she was walking to my house because I noticed that she fell out in the street and they had to get her um out of the street. And yeah, I lost my oldest son. I wasn't expecting to get emotional, whew, but I lost him December 28th, 2022. And we buried him January the 7th. Was it January the 7th? Yeah, January the 7th, 2023. And then the process started happening. The process of the process God began to take me on to bring me here in front of you all to tell my story. Um, in February, God had me forgive. And I know a lot of people is like, it's easy said than done. People always saying forgive. And I'm gonna be honest, forgiving is not easy at all. Like, forgiving is not easy. When God, I fought God. Like, I was like, no, I don't want to forgive these people. And he's like, no, you need to forgive them. And I'm like, I don't want to forgive them. Like, I wanted revenge because a couple of days before my son took his life, I went in his room. Like, I randomly do sweets because he used to smoke a vape. And I would like, I don't even, at some time, I ain't even had to look. He would just leave it and and I take them. I always took them. Anytime I found a vape, I always took it, throw it away. And I had did a sweep of his room and there was no gun in his room. So for me to know that I literally just did this and then a gun was outside of what me and my husband has appeared in my house and he used it to take his life. I wanted revenge for the person who gave him that gun. Like I literally like I wanted to go find this person. Like at this point, I was ready to throw the saved Sallie out of the window and bring back the Sallie from my early 20s when I wasn't saved. Like that's how mad I was, and I wanted to go find this person. I was going to keep asking questions until I found the person who gave him the gun. Then he wanted me to forgive everybody who I felt like failed him, everybody who I felt like didn't do enough in my eyes, like the community because they had no mentoring programs. Um like he just wanted me to forgive everybody I felt was connected. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And we kept going back and forth. And finally, I made a list of everybody, including myself, including my son, and I forgave everybody. Excuse me. When I forgave, I boohoo cried as if I lost my son all over again. Like I had to forgive myself because I felt like I didn't do enough. Even though people told me you did enough. Like you got the counselor. When you first noticed that he was changing, you told the guidance counselors at school. Like I was telling everybody. And I had to forgive my son because I'm like, you left me. Me. I'm like he was a mama's boy. Like that's my baby. You left me of all people. You left me. But once I forgave, a weight was lifted up off my shoulders. And I was free because I asked God to make it like it never happened. So when I asked him to make it like it never happened, it's like he erased the memory and the hurt that I felt was caused by the people who didn't do enough. The pain and the hurt, he erased the pain and the hurt from the person who gave him the gun that I wanted revenge on. I no longer wanted revenge on anymore. God lifted it all away. But I'm gonna be honest, I told y'all forgiveness is hard. After that, I was like, I stopped getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning because faithfully I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing my Jesus time while everybody was asleep. And after that, I was like, Lord, if it's gonna be this hard going in Jesus time, I'm not doing mm-mm. I don't want no part of that. Mm-mm. So I stopped getting up. And at this point, me and my friends, we made a vow that like life is short. We're going to get together every month. So that's what we did. Every month, whoever got a birthday, we going out to eat. So that's what we did. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be outside. Yeah, I'm gonna be outside. Like, that is June, August, August. Me and my friends planned a lake trip, and that July, the Lord spoke to me and said, um, this your last trip with your friends. And I was like, what? I thought I was gonna be outside. What you mean? It's like he kept coming to me. He's like, this gonna be your last trip with your friends. And and at that time, it was the last trip with my friends. Like anytime they was, asking to go out to eat or anything, I had to say no because at this point, God is separating me. He's putting me alone so that he can start molding me into the woman who I am today. And in October, I said I was going to start doing Jesus time again. I was going to start reading my Bible because for those of us, we'll say we read in the Bible, but we don't really read the Bible for real. We might read it on Sunday when the pastor tell us to open it up to Matthew, Luke, or John, and that's it. We don't read the Bible no more during the week. And that was me. So I began to get intentional. And I started reading the Bible every single day. I still do it to this day. I still read the Bible every day. And the Lord started changing me. And one of my mentors, she was like, Sally, you need to tell your story. You need to start talking, talking to people. Like she saw something in me that I didn't see in me. She just wanted me to go live on Facebook. Who knew that it was gonna transform and turn into me having my own podcast? And now you all are hearing me on my first episode. But she saw it already. And I was trying to figure out a name at the time it was just a group. And she was like, um, what about Grieving Gracefully? And I was like, oh, that sounds good. I like that. And so the name just stuck. So November 2023, Grieving Gracefully was birthed. And then um fast forward 2024, I started walking into my purpose. People started asking me to come on their podcast and tell my story. Before this, a lot of people was asking me, Sally, are you writing a book? I'm like, I'm not writing no book. Why y'all keep asking me if I'm writing a book? I'm like, why do people keep asking me if I'm writing a book? And then one day it's like three people asked me back to back, Sally, you writing a book? And I said, nope. Let me talk to the Lord. I said, because y'all keep asking me, so let me go talk to the Lord. So I asked the Lord, and like a couple months later, he came to me and was like, you writing a book. And like I said, I was on podcasts. I'm on Christian TV shows telling my story. I started speaking at events, um, encouraging people. So now I'm an author and I'm a speaker. And 2024, on the anniversary of my son's passing, I became a published author of a guided grief journal called Grieving Gracefully. That God had me to give you all as a way of showing you all how I was able to lean and depend on him through the process, and I never shunned him, and he began to transform me. And I put all of that in the journal. And it's also a space in there for you to write and keep a 30-day journal as you go through this. And I tell people when you get my journal, you have to be ready. You're gonna have to be ready to do the hard things in order to get to the other side of grief. Or if you just want a better relationship with God, my journal isn't just for, it says grieving gracefully, but it's not just for people who want to get through grief. It's also if you want a better relationship with God, because the things that I did, I actually thought that I was getting closer to God, but unbeknownst to me, as I'm getting closer to God, it's also helping me get over my grief. I'm not saying that I still don't have my days, because I do, but my days aren't as hard as they used to, or how much they could have been if I didn't lean into God and give him everything and do the things that I did in my journal. So if that's you and you have been struggling with grief, or you want a stronger relationship with God, you can go to my website at grievinggracefully.org. That's grievinggracefully.org, and purchase your journal. That's my time. Thank you all for joining me for the first episode of Grieving Gracefully with Sallie D. I pray that you all have an amazing day on purpose. See y'all later.